They say revolutions are fought with speeches and marches, but in the civil rights era, they were also fought with skillets, ladles, and cast-iron pots. In church basements, on back porches, and in safe houses, food was more than a meal. It was a weapon of survival, a balm for the weary, and a quiet act of defiance. Every bite carried a message. You are not alone. You are loved. You are strong enough to keep going. Welcome to the America we forget. Today's story: 10 civil rights era recipes that kept the movement alive. These aren't just recipes, they're living history, dishes that carried courage in every spoonful and strength in every bite. And as we count them down, you'll see how each one fed more than hunger. It fed the fight for freedom. 1. Roasted pig, ear slabs. Pig ears might sound strange to some today, but back then, they were a prize. First, they were scrubbed clean, boiled until tender, then laid out flat and roasted slow until the edges curled and crisped like bacon. The smell was deep and savory, with a tang of vinegar or hot sauce drizzled over the top. In Birmingham, one Sunday after a long protest march, a church fed over 100 marchers with nothing but pig ears and potatoes. The laughter, the sauce running down chins, the warmth inside that church. It was proof that even the scraps could be turned into a feast of resilience. Kids gnawed on the crispy edges like candy. Elders chewed slow, remembering harder times. That plate wasn't just food. It was a reminder that we didn't just survive. We seasoned the struggle. 2. Blackbird stew. This was the meal for folks who knew how to make something out of nothing. Blackbirds caught in fields, plucked and simmered with onions, greens, and roots. The broth turned dark and rich, the meat tender enough to fall from the bone. During the rural boycotts of '61, when store shelves were off limits to black families, this stew kept people alive. Out on back steps or under moonlight on old porches, elders passed down the know-how: how to catch a bird, how to stretch a meal, how to stay proud with a belly half full. That stew held more than meat. It held memory, and the quiet knowledge that survival itself was an act of defiance. 3. Philadelphia pepper soup. Born from scraps and stubbornness, this soup started with cow tripe. Tough at first, but slow cooked until soft and rich. Cassava thickened it, peppers and onions gave it bite, and herbs brought it to life. In the winter of '63, it warmed hands outside churches in North Philly after long, cold marches. Some said it smelled too strong, but to those who knew, that smell was home, a reminder that even the humblest ingredients could carry power. Every spoonful was bold, bitter, and ours, a taste of history that whispered, "We've been here. We're still here." 4. Freshwater turtle stew. Caught from creeks and bayous, turtle meat was tough, until it was stewed low with onions, garlic, and cayenne. The broth came out dark and rich, sometimes with okra or hard-boiled eggs to stretch it further. After the Birmingham church bombing in '63, one Louisiana family served turtle stew to grieving neighbors. No speeches, no sermons, just bowls passed hand to hand, steam rising with the weight of sorrow and strength. An elder once told a child, "We eat turtle 'cause it's hard outside, soft inside, just like us." That pot held more than meat. It held lessons. 5. Squirrel fricassee or fried squirrel. In the country, squirrel was no stranger to the dinner table. Fried crisp or simmered in gravy until it fell off the bone, it was a dish that could feed a crowd on almost nothing. During Freedom, summer in '64, one elder fed 14 volunteers with 6 squirrels and a whole lot of gravy. They ate with biscuits, soaking up every drop, planning the next day's march. Nobody asked for seconds out of greed. They asked because that squirrel tasted like unity. 6. Rabbit and dumplings. Rabbit was Sunday best meat in hard times. Slow cooked until tender, with thick dumplings soaking up every drop of broth. In Nashville, '61, a church elder served rabbit and dumplings to every teen released from jail after protests. They ate with bruises on their faces, but courage in their bellies. Years later, some of those kids said that pot of rabbit and dumplings was the first time they truly felt seen. Not as troublemakers, but as somebody's future. 7. Corncob broth with onion skins. When cupboards were bare, people turned to what others threw away. Corncobs and onion skins boiled slow made a golden sweet broth that could stretch any meal. In '66, Arkansas, this broth bubbled in borrowed pots behind churches during long nights of organizing, a quiet reminder that nothing and no one was wasted. It taught a lesson that went beyond the kitchen. Even the thrown-away parts could give back if you treated them right. 8. Salmon croquettes. Canned salmon, breadcrumbs, onions, and egg, fried until golden. During the Montgomery bus boycott, churches handed out lunch sacks with warm croquettes to those walking miles to work. It wasn't just a patty, it was a promise. We got you? That little patty reminded folks that struggle didn't mean going without. Not when you had a whole community ready to fry up hope by the handful. 9. Ashcake wrapped in collard leaves. Cornmeal dough wrapped in collard leaves, baked right in the ashes of a fire. During protests in Georgia, elders made ashcakes in backyards for young marchers returning from sit-ins, tired, hungry, but proud. That smoky, earthy bread filled the gap between anger and hope. Kids fought over the crusty bits, burnt edges and all, because that's where the magic was. 10. Field greens and sorrel herbal drink. Before sodas and sweet tea, there was sorrel steeped with ginger and clove, sometimes mixed with foraged greens. In Mississippi and Alabama, it was called marching juice, cooling the body, calming the nerves and putting strength back in tired legs. Every sip was a reminder. The roots we drink from run deep. These 10 dishes weren't just recipes. They were lifelines. They were the taste of courage, the smell of safety, the warmth of a community that refused to break. In the civil rights era, food was fuel for the fight, and every pot, pan, and plate carried the weight of a movement. If this journey stirred something in you, a memory, a hunger, a pride, don't let these stories fade. Like this video to honor the cooks who fed the struggle. Share it so others can taste this history. And subscribe to The America We Forget for more stories that deserve to be remembered. Because the table of history is still set, and there's always room for one more plate.